on, you piece of shit. Yeah, and I just sent the link to Kim, so yeah, we are live, so let's get you in here, and Kim should be back here in a second.
Awesome.
Yep, Sal Gutt, my good friend, from Digging Hub and History Hunt Club, just said we are live, so hopefully they didn't hear me cussing cussing the internet.
Yeah, because it was good there for a minute, but then.
Yeah, well, I think there were too many in there, and so we're back, folks. I think we're back on Facebook and YouTube. We're just waiting for Kim to come back in.
And like Kim was saying, if you want something from the Atocha or the Margarita, you can go to his store in Key West and actually pick up a piece of history.
Can I go?
And yeah, you could go too, Joss.
They heard it. I guess they heard me cussing the internet. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, that's a family show, Jeff. I have to remind you
that
this is
well,
a show for kids.
Maybe that worked. Well, I just called it a piece. That's all. Trust me, I'll hear about it later.
Yeah.
Come on, Kim. Are you in?
We heard Jeff cussing. Someone just texted me that.
Who said that?
I'm not getting them.
Well, that's because it's going to my cell phone. They texted me my cell number. So as soon as we pull Kim back.
I didn't hear Jeff cuss.
Yeah, he said, yeah, we heard you, brother. Okay, yeah. It wasn't that bad, man. I don't think. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we can get Kim back.
That would be good.
Now, Kim, if you're watching on YouTube, I sent the link back to you. Let's see if we can get you back in. Let me send another one just to be on the safe side. Let's see. The wonderful world of the internet, I'm telling you.
My good buddy Cabeza Papa just told me that he heard Jeff cussing.
Did he hear him? Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I've got about 4 messages. It wasn't that bad.
Hey, I've got to ask Jeff.
Well, I'll have to ask him later, not on the show, what he said. Because we won't have any foul language here. But anyway, folks, if you haven't made it to the Key West Museum, it's just really cool.
It is.
And then go into the Fisher store there, I guess is not in the same location. And you can actually buy a shipwreck coin, or I imagine they'd sell you a silver bar. They sound like he has plenty of them.
I bet.
80 pounds of silver, I imagine, is pretty expensive.
Yeah. So hopefully Kim will. Who's called me a potty mouth? I'll get back at you.
A potty mouth?
Yeah, I don't know who said it.
See, I'm not getting any feeds.
Oh, are we back off again?
No, I don't think so. Now
Are you getting
you have to reboot it, I think.
on Facebook?
Yeah, I have
Oh,
to
turn it
reboot it.
on.
It says we're live again, so
Yeah, we're
I'm gonna
live.
turn it
We're
on.
live right now.
if
Yes,
I can just get Kim back. Okay, Kim, or if you're out there in Never Never Land, let's get back in here.
Maria Reese says she can't get the live feed. Should I tell her to reboot it?
No, I think
Yeah,
just refresh your screen or something, and it might come up. 'Cause,
yeah,
yeah, we are.
yeah. I'm showing a bunch of people on here, so
I
we can
told
just get Kim back. Anybody on YouTube or Facebook that has Kim Fisher's number, tell him to click back in. Here he comes. Okay, now let's hope we got all this dilemma all fixed up, Kim.
I hope.
There we do. There we got
We
it.
hope.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
All right, we're all
Oh, here
back.
we go, here
So
we
as
go.
long as Kim doesn't crash our Facebook and YouTube, we'll be back at it with the questions.
And I apologize right now for cussing the internet.
That's all right.
Evidently, people heard that and
They
they're
did.
texting us about. So, Kim, I'm going to go down my list of questions here that people have already emailed me and sent me. What was the
Okay.
favorite hunt you had with your dad?
Oh man, there's a bunch of them. They're all fun. You know, I guess when I was a kid working on the 1715 fleet, that was when I found my first piece of eight when I was 9 years old, and then when I was 12, I found my first gold coin. Um, that was quite a thrill. I mean, when it's first time in my life I ever found a gold, so that was pretty thrilling.
Yeah, I can imagine. I've been hunting
Yeah.
with a detector for almost 40 years, and I haven't found that gold coin yet, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, I wasn't even using a detector. In fact, that was a interesting day. We were going to a wreck site called Corrigan's, and there was one on the way called the Riamar wreck, and we'd never worked the Riamar wreck because it was in 5 feet of water on top of the reef part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You could stand on top of the cannons, and it'd be up to here in the water. So we figured the Spaniards probably completely salvaged that one, but we decided to stop and dig one hole on the way to this other wreck site, and we dug a hole, and the very first hole, Mo, who's one of my dad's divers from a long time before in Panama even, he came up with a pearl-studded gold cross in one hand and a gold crucifix in the other hand. So we decided we're going to dig another hole,
I can
would have.
understand why.
Yeah, and then right after lunch, the air compressor we used to fill our dive tanks broke, and so me being low man on the totem pole, I was only allowed to free dive. I wasn't allowed to use a tank, and I free dove down and I saw this gold coin. It was in a little limestone ledge about 2 inches tall, and I grabbed it and I fanned, and there was another one. I grabbed it, and I finally ended up with 7 coins, escudos, and I went up, and my dad was one of the very few times I ever saw him. Don't you ever stay down that long again? I said, Dad, look. He's like, I don't care. Don't go that long. But so we ended up, I think we got 135 gold coins
Whoa.
and a bunch of jewelry too.
Oh, that's
And,
awesome.
yeah, we spent the rest of the summer working that wreck. And then, the Etosha, I was 12 years old when we started looking for that, and I was 29 when we found it. So we spent almost 17 years looking. The first 3 years, looking 100 miles in the wrong direction because we had some leading research. The research we had said that the Atocha sank off the Matacumbes, and there's 3 islands in the Upper Keys, Upper, Middle, and Lower Matacumbes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we went to look. And then in 1971, Dr. Eugene Lyon was over in Spain. He was working on his PhD in Florida history, and he found research. He and my dad and families were good friends. In fact, Dad even helped finance his trip over there. But when you're over there, keep an eye out for stuff on the Atocha. And he found this research that said that the Spaniards had their salvage camp on the Marquesas Key when they were salvaging the Margarita. So we moved the whole operation 100 miles down to Key West. And then before the year was out, we had found the first anchor from the Atocha. And then right near there, we found some gold chains and some silver coins. And then we went on, started following that trail. And we found a really substantial pile of treasure. We nicknamed it the Bank of Spain. And it had 3 silver bars. And the silver bars have serial numbers stamped into them. And those serial numbers, we were able to match with the manifest from the Atocha. So they were listed as being on board the Atocha. So we knew for sure that we had found the Atocha at that point. My dad was sure anyway, but we had, actual proof.
Proof, yeah.
And we kept going, and we figured, we found so much stuff that the rest of it has to be close by. And we knew that it was going to be another 8 miles to the main pile.
Gee.
That's how strong, how powerful the ocean is. You get the hurricane, and it just ripped the ship apart. And we've got a trail 10 miles long now, and we're still following that trail looking for the rest of the treasure.
So the ship was torn up and broadcast all this stuff over 10 miles.
Yeah.
That is just incredible.
10 miles and counting.
That,
What happened was, so they were in this storm, and the rigging had broken loose. So they chopped down the main mast, and they chopped down the mizzen mast, because those 2 masts, not the mizzen mast, they chopped down the main mast and the foremasts, because those 2 masts were connected to the keel of the ship. So without the rigging, if those masts start wobbling in a storm, it would rip a hole in the hull, and they would sink. So when they lost the rigging, they chopped those 2 masts down. The mizzen mast was still sticking up because it wasn't attached to the keel. And the captain asked for volunteers to go up and watch the Margarita, because they were within sight of each other. And nobody volunteered, so he said, okay, you, and you go up there and watch. And so they had the stern castle was literally a castle built up on the back of the ship so that they could shoot down at any enemy attackers. So it acted like a sail. Without any sails, the only thing catching the wind was that stern castle. She was being blown backwards, and by the storm with the wind, they were just at the mercy of the wind. And they came up on the barrier reef. The reef there is 9 feet deep. And it was such a powerful hurricane that in the trough between the waves, the reef was actually exposed in the trough.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh man, we're done for, They can see they're being blown. They got their anchors out, and they're just dragging and breaking loose. and they're just blowing up on this reef, and they hit the reef. They bounced twice on the reef, and then they went over the reef, but it had knocked two big holes in the bottom, and they went on about another mile and a half and sank. And the mizzenmast was still sticking up out of the water. She sank in 55 feet of water, and the mizzenmast was 70 feet tall. So the mizzenmast was sticking up. So those three guys that were sent up there to keep an eye on the Margarita, plus two other guys that managed to climb up on the mizzenmast, were the only 5 survivors from the Atocha out of 265 people. The rest of them perished.
Yeah.
And the Margarita went on up. It went over a place in the reef that was deeper, so it did not hit the reef, and it went up into this area called the quicksands. It's a huge sandbar, about 50 miles long, that sticks out from the Marquesas to the west. So the Margarita went on up until it hit the quicksands, the sandbar. And there it started breaking up. And there was actually, I think, 35 survivors picked up from the Margarita. But then, they sent out rescue ships from Havana, and they picked up the survivors from the Atocha, and they marked it with a spar, they call it. It's just a piece of the cross arm from a ship, a square rigger. And they put an anchor down and marked the Atocha site. And they went on to the Dry Tortugas, where there was a third ship called the Rosario that washed up in 8 feet of water. So it was easy pickings.
Right.
I mean, it was basically just burned it to the line and unloaded all the treasure from it. But while doing that, less than 30 days later, after the sinking of the Atocha and Margarita, a second hurricane. The Atocha main pile was so heavy with all the 400 tons of ballast and 47 tons of silver that main pile just stayed right there. But the bow and the stern and all the upper decks were ripped loose, and they took off in that second hurricane. And that's where we got this. Went on basically going west until the bronze cannons fell off, and then it got lighter and was affected more by the surface winds, and it changed directions, and it went up into the quicksands. And then from there, that's where we found the Bank of Spain, hit the quicksands. And from there, it broke, the bow and the stern broke off. We don't know if it was in the same storm or two different storms, but the stern material goes up to the northwest, and the bow material goes basically to the north. So we got the one trail, and then from the Bank of Spain, we got 2 trails. And we're following those trails. We're focusing on the stern trail, of course, because that's where all the precious stuff is. The bow would have like frying pans. That's where the crew would stay. So, all of the real valuable treasure would have been in the stern. There were 38 members of the Spanish aristocracy on board, and they all stayed in the stern, and they all had their own personal treasure chests, with their own personal goodies in them. And so that would all been in the stern too. And of course, the church's shipment, and a lot more silver coins and silver bars are still missing too.
Okay. So on those ships, did you find any royals?
No, we didn't find any royals, but one of the unique things we did find was the first sample set of coins, of gold coins ever minted in the New World. They were minted in it's called, it's Bogota today, but back then it was called Nueva Reina. So they got an NR stamped the mint, and they were the only ones in the world that had ever that were ever made were on board the Atocha, and we found several of those. So they were being sent back to Spain to get the king's approval, and then they were going to, start minting gold coins. So there were never any gold coins minted in the New World until 1622. So the only gold coins we found were, besides those real super rare Nueva Reina coins, the only gold coins we found were old world coins from Spain. And they'd already been across the ocean once, They were just somebody's pocket money. We found
Okay.
about 130 gold coins altogether.
Okay. Awesome. Well,
Yeah, the
Jeff,
gold
you
was all being shipped
what?
back. Gold was all being shipped back in bars and money chains. They had these money chains where each link weighed the same. So when they went to buy something, they know that they could twist off a link and they would know exactly how much it weighed when they were buying something.
Right. Oh, cool.
Well, didn't they also, Kim, wear the chains because they could hide them on their person so they didn't get taxed on it?
Well, they were jewelry, so jewelry wasn't taxed. So
Okay.
the more of these chains they had, they didn't have to pay taxes on it. And they had some beautiful gold and emerald jewelry. There was a lot of jewelry that we found, and I'm sure there's still a lot more out there that we haven't found. And none of that was on the manifest. All those gold chains and jewelry, that's all contraband,
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
Kim, the depth of the Atocha that you guys are working now, how deep is the water there?
The main pile is in 55 feet. And then the trail that goes on up into the quicksands, it's about 20 feet. But up in the quicksands, there's a lot of sand covering everything. So by the time you dig through the sand, you're down to about 30 feet.
Yeah.
By the time you hit bedrock.
Yeah. And when you're digging through the sand, you're just blowing the sand away?
Yeah, we're using the mailboxes to dust away the sand.
Okay.
We do it real slow and gentle because we don't want to lose anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the
Right.
emeralds and stuff like that?
Yeah. That's for exploratory digging. Like if we get to a place where there's a concentration of artifacts, then we stop using the mailboxes and we start using the airlift. And it's much slower, but that way we don't miss anything or damage anything.
Now, for the folks who don't know what the mailboxes are, they're metal, like barrels put on the motor and blowing all the prop wash down to the sand. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's an elbow-shaped pipe, and it fits over the propeller on the boat, and it deflects the prop wash down to the bottom.
Right.
So you have the boat anchored with like a 3 or 4 point anchor, so it's perfectly stationary. And then you start the engines up, and the prop wash goes down, and it dusts away the sand or mud.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And then the other thing you use, you're pumping air down, correct?
Yeah, for the airlift, it's we have all different size ones, up to like an 8-inch one is the biggest one, and that's what we use for Emerald City, where we actually you pump air down a hose into this 20-foot long pipe, and then the air, if you go into the bottom pool and blow bubbles out, they go up to the surface. It's the same thing. This hose brings the air down to the end of the pipe, and that air shoots up the pipe to get back to the surface, and it creates a vacuum. And then on the other end of the pipe, we put a big green rubber hose, and we run it up onto a box on deck where there's a big screen to get all the big shells and big rocks out. And then we run it through along these tables that have different screens, like the first one is a coarse screen, then the screens keep getting finer and finer. And that's where we find the emeralds. That's how we find the emeralds.
Interesting. That's neat.
Now,
I
didn't
get
I
a lot of
read
questions
something?
on here all the time about people. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say, I thought I read something where you have you can take people out and the Emerald City, I think it is, and let them search for emeralds.
Yeah, we
You
do.
got,
People love to go out and sift through that sand for emeralds, and then if they're certified divers, they can also go diving and look underwater, see if they can find something, and they often do. We only allow our investors to do that though. Uh, we tried having a program, but
okay.
it was just too disruptive to the, it slowed us down too much. So we only let our investors do that, but
Mm-hmm.
people can still invest. So people drop out every once in a while, and a spot opens up. You can get in for as low as 12,500. I saw that on the list of questions you sent me.
Yeah, yeah. People are always asking,
Yeah.
how can we go
So
out
so
and
you
dive with Kim
yeah
Fisher?
so you can get a piece of the action. You get a piece of whatever we find for a year. Plus, you can come out and go diving or sift for emeralds. Um, we did have to stop it last summer because of COVID.
Right.
We didn't want the
Mm-hmm.
guys getting infected, so we didn't take any media out, any visitors whatsoever. It was just the crew, and that was it. We'll be starting that back up again soon. Right now because of COVID, we're not taking any visitors out to the boat, but that'll be
All
behind
right.
us.
Yeah, hopefully very quickly. So
Well,
we
the
remember people ask about it.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. They're always asking. And Jeff, I think we got a little delay here now for
Yeah, I
some
think so.
reason.
The
It's
internet's
lagging.
not at its best
So
tonight. So
It's 10 off.
yeah. Hey Jeff, were you going to do a drawing for the sticker tonight, or
yeah, we'll do it here. We got plenty of time. We're not gonna be off at 8 o'clock. We got too much ground to
okay?
cover.
All right, no
I went.
problem.
So
I, I went on. I
we'll do
went
that.
on other wrecks, other hunts. With Dad. You know, we went down and looked for one down in Uruguay. Um, that was interesting until I found out that it's really hard to get a deal down there. The way they have it set up is that somebody can get a contract on an area, whether they go work it. And the spot we wanted to work, this German guy had it tied up for like, because he had all his relatives lined up. So if we wanted to work it, we had to make a deal with him. And we found out that contract law down there is that if somebody has a contract with you, the most you can get is $1 million. If we go out there and find, it had about the same amount as the treasure. If we go out there and find $400 million worth of treasure, he can just give us $1 million and keep the rest.
Ah,
So we decided that wasn't a very good deal.
no, it
And,
wouldn't be.
and it's typically, when you go to foreign countries, it's really tough. I mean, there has been there's been some work done in the Bahamas, and they've honored their contracts, and Ecuador and Panama, where they've honored their contracts. But other than that, once you get making deals with those third world countries, it gets kind of shaky.
I think it might be
Yeah.
kind of shaky with the U.S. government too, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, we had a hard time keeping the Atocha. When we first found it, we had already had a working relationship with the state of Florida on the 1715 fleet up off the East Coast, where we donated 25% of everything we found to the state. And when we found the Atocha, the state of Florida and the federal government both claimed ownership. And Dad, he's like, okay, well, we'll do the same thing, like always. I'll donate 25%. And they said, no, we want it all. And so he said, okay, well, I'll donate 35%. And they said, no, we want it all. And so ended up going to court for 8 years and all the way to the United States Supreme Court. And they said finders keepers. So we got it all.
Oh, nice.
A lot of people think that's the best part of the whole story.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's just part of the business. I mean, we're still fighting the government. They've made it a marine sanctuary down here. Of course, we had our pre-existing admiralty claims, and they keep giving us permits to work. Because the federal court has given us the right to work, and we were there before the sanctuary, but they keep making it more and more ridiculous. They keep coming up with these new permit conditions, and
right.
They're cutting our productivity in half, making us all the red tape and everything. So we're still fighting them. We just went through a 2-year administrative appeal, and that didn't come out. I mean, we got some good stuff. I mean, we can still go out and work, but it's still slowing us down. So we just appealed that to the federal court. So we're going back to federal court again. Of course, federal court system's running kind of slow right now because of COVID. So
right.
We've been waiting for a couple of months now to get a hearing before the federal court.
Okay, well, I've got a couple questions for you, Kim.
Okay.
Glenn Young has asked, how much of the Atocha do you think are still out there?
Well, there's at least 300 million of registered cargo, $300 million that we know for sure was loaded on board.
Of registered cargo, and then whatever was smuggled or...
Yeah, the contraband is probably more than that. There's probably, we have a letter this guy sent his brother saying he put a 70-pound box of emeralds on the Atocha. Now, that one box of emeralds could be worth $500 million, or even more.
Oh my goodness.
So, and plus,
the best is still out there.
Yeah, and everybody was smuggling. I mean, the pilot's chest was full of treasure. Everybody on board, down to the lowliest crew guy, they were all smuggling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, and then Mark Hoover has asked, do you think there's other wrecks out there that are larger? Any other treasure that's larger than the Atocha?
Absolutely. Yeah. I know of a couple. The Spanish lost 750 wrecks, ships during the 300 years they were doing this. It was hundreds of tons of silver every year for 300 years was being shipped from the New World back to Spain, and plus the gold and emeralds. And there's a couple out there. I don't really want to say where, but they have 17 times the cargo of the Atocha.
Oh, geez.
You can imagine that. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, two ships with 17 times the cargo, and they both sank right next to each other in a storm. And we have location data. Some guys got in a longboat and made it to shore, and then they brought a bunch of the gold with them. And then there's a trail. They stopped in this town and gave some gold to somebody, for food and mules, and then they went to the next town. And so we got a track, so we know where they landed, and using that point, we can go backwards with the way the wind was blowing when the storm sank, and the 3 days it took them to get to shore. And we can get a search box. We use it's called renavigation. So you just take all the data you have and you put it in this computer system, and it runs this thousands and thousands of times, and it gives you a box, you know, and say, okay, so if you go to this size of box, you know, you got a 20% chance of finding it. If you make the box bigger, you got a 50% chance of finding it. We usually use the 2/3, 66% chance of finding a size box. And that's always worked before.
Mark Hoover's.
But the bigger the box, the better your chances, you know.
Absolutely.
Hoover.
Yeah, it's in a place that's not real safe right now. So we're not going to go looking for that one anytime soon.
Okay. Hey, I have another question from Mark Hoover, and he says, did Mel ever hunt for treasure out west? I heard that he'd done some exploration out there. Is that true?
Yes, we were out in the Uinta Mountains searching for the Rhodes treasure. He was one of the founders of the Mormon Church.
Okay.
And whenever the church needed money, he would go off with some mules for a few days and come back loaded with gold. And anytime somebody tried to follow him, they disappeared. But that's the road, the Lost Roads mine. It's a fairly well known one. And we went out there. I remember, you know, in the middle of June, and on the north side of the mountain, it was still snow up to here, you know. But we got more and more research, and Dad figured it was on this Indian reservation, and he went and talked with the chief, and the chief said, "No way, you know, we're not gonna allow any treasure hunting on our reservation." So that put an end to that one. I was up in the Superstition Mountains looking for a treasure there. I just went there for like a week. It was a long hike to get in there because you're not allowed to take any vehicles in there. It's a park. But and then I was out there. This was after Dad passed, but I went out to near Fresno. There was the guy that did the research. He called it the Tears of the Sun. Like Sid's book, but it was. The Spaniards were mining all over, you know, up all over California and up in Utah. I mean, and they called all that Mexico back then. They just took everything to Mexico City, and then they would ship it back to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
But so there was this mine up there in Northern California, and they had I forget how many. I think it was 70 mules loaded with gold, and they were taking it down to San Francisco, and they were going to ship it down to Mexico. And when they taken the gold from the mine down to San Francisco, they got attacked by Indians. And the Indians stole all their mules. They didn't take the gold. They just wanted the mules. So the Indians stole all their mules. So these guys are straight up mountains with no way to carry this gold, so they buried it. And then they went on foot down to San Francisco. And the Russians had chased the Spanish out of San Francisco. And so, you know, there was no Spanish base there anymore because the Russians had chased them out. And so they ended up making their way back south again on foot. and finally made it back, to Mexico City, but they never went back and got that stash of treasure. So I was up there looking for that for a while.
Interesting.
I spent a whole summer up there looking for that. But I'll tell you, and we went on one up in Virginia, but that treasure hunting on land is hard work. Every one of them I went on, we had to hike for miles and carry all this equipment. Man, that's hard work.
Yeah, I bet.
Hey, I did have another question that came through, and it's from Scott Kiefer, and he's asking, do you still meet and greet with clubs that come to the museum?
Um, in Key West, the museum does. They've got Corey Malcolm there. He's their archaeologist,
Mm-hmm.
and he does a lot of meets and greets and tours. Takes people on tours through the lab. You can find me down at our store on Duval Street, and my niece is up in the store in Sebastian, or the museum in Sebastian, and my sister's up there also. My sister Taffy, she got the job of not cleaning, but recording all of those silver coins we found when we found the main pile. She was in charge of the curating of it. So she got to take pictures. This is when computers were brand new.
Yeah.
And so, putting it all on computers, they were on those reels of tape, and
Mhm.
Absolutely. So
very,
if somebody wanted to meet with you, you just got to go to the store in Key West,
yes,
and
that's
they will
right.
find you there. That's awesome.
Yep. 613 Duval Street.
Yeah, because people want to
Yeah.
meet you too.
Yeah.
And I've just got another comment, and I'll have to read this one to you, Kim. It's from Bill Blaze. He says, investing with Mel Fisher Treasures is one of the most fun investments I've ever made.
All right.
Fellow investors become like family you see at the annual division party. That's what he
Yeah, it
wrote.
is. It is. It is. It is like a family, It's a great time. Unfortunately, we had to cancel last year, and we're probably going to have to cancel this year. Because of COVID, they just won't let us do it.
Yeah, everybody's run into
Yeah,
that now,
yeah,
even with our club meetings and different events, all have been shut down. Jeff just went to a Florida Hunt 7, which took place over the weekend, and that was like the first one that's been out in a while that we've had as a group.
yeah.
And I got another question for you. Gary Toledo's asking, Mr. Fisher has asked Mr. Fisher if he's ever hunted in any hunted treasure in Arizona mountains. But I guess that's the superstitions.
Yeah, I was up there. I was up there once, Superstition Mountains.
Yeah.
This guy, he came to me and he said that he had found this cave, but he was afraid that the cave might be booby trapped, or something, and so he wanted us to go up there and go in the cave. So I took a few guys, and I took Pat Klein. He was a longtime member of our crew. I mean, for a long time, but he was a videographer, so I took him to take videos, and we went in there with backpacks, and it was about a 7-hour hike to get close. We set up camp, spent the night, and then we got up the next morning, and we went to where this cave is, and it was there's this big ravine, and then the cave was over on the other side of the ravine.
Hmm.
And he was sure there was some treasure buried in that cave. So we made it around to the ravine and got to the cave, and it was about 2 feet deep. So
So no
No.
treasure then.
It was another wild goose chase. I've been on lots of
Back to
wild
the
goose
Atocha.
chases. Yeah, I've been on lots of wild goose chases.
Well,
Yeah, that happened.
you've hit it big though, so
Yeah.
you can do that. So Jeff, are you pulling a name or something?
I'm fixing to. What we're going to do, take a little bit of a break here, Kim, to give away some stuff that we do.
All right.
And I'm just going to bring this up right now, kind of put you on the spot a little bit. We want to have you back real soon when we're not going to have all the internet problems and stuff. If that's something you'd agree to do.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
you've
just
been one of our
This
funnest
is
guests.
easy.
yeah, let's do how about June 28th?
Oh, well,
Good.
let's talk about a date later.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're gonna have to check your schedule.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give away some stuff. So
Okay.
everybody knows the rules. Got 4 prizes for tonight. I posted them on the Facebook page. So the first prize is 2 hats and a shirt and a sticker pack. And the you got 3 minutes to text either Phil or me, or you can Facebook Messenger us. No phone calls. And the first one for number 1 pack, the winner is William Jones. And identify yourself when you text or Facebook Messenger, please, so we know
Please
who.
do that. So we
so
know who you are.
And we'll go ahead for the second. The number 2 prize is 2 hats and a shirt and the stickers, and that is going to be Greg Wilkerson. And we'll go ahead. Number 3 is 2 hats and a buff that goes across your face, so it's good for COVID. That's Robert Ed. You got 3 minutes. And then number 4 is 2 hats, and that is Mary Beth Kirshen. So you got 3 minutes. So guys, text Phil or me or Facebook Messenger us.
Facebook.
Yep.
Okay.
So Kim, now you work at the store there in Key West, so you must live there in Key West then, right?
I do. Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
don't live in town, but
Okay, my
it's
wife's
a little
family.
it's a little noisy down there, but
Yeah.
yeah, I live close.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot over the years. My wife's family is from Key West, and we just got one of the winners. Greg Wilkerson is here. Anyway, her mom was fifth
All right, congratulations, Greg.
generation.
William Jones.
Yeah, so it looks like we got 2 of them. So that's
Yep.
awesome. Anyway, I moved to Tampa in 1981, and I should have gone further and gone all the way down to Key West. But my wife's mom was living in Tampa at the time. We moved from Maryland. So yeah, she used to live on Fletcher Lane there, and I guess that's part of Old Town, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's changed a lot since she lived there.
Yes,
You got
it
all
has.
of them?
We got all 4. We're in like a burglar.
Well, that's sweet.
Now, all you
Awesome.
guys that won, you know what to do. You got to get me your information. treasuretalkshow@gmail.com. Send me your information that way, please, so I
And
can sort
folks,
stuff out.
just a reminder that you can stop in the shop. I'm open this week on Friday and Saturday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday. I got to have some time to do some treasure hunting on my own. But it's been fun having you on here, Kim.
Yeah,
Thank you for-
my store is open every day except Christmas.
Oh,
Well,
you
we've
must
been,
have some employees in there to help you, though.
yeah, we've been wanting to make a trip to Key West.
Yes, we have.
I'll tell you, it's beautiful down here right now. It's 78 and sunny today.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff's up in North Florida.
Yeah, but I've been there a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, and when we were down there, the main museum there by the aquarium,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
I was just blown away. But we didn't go to the one in Duval Street, so that's our next trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go in the store and get a nice 8 real,
There you go.
like Kim has.
Like the one on.
Yes, I want one like
Yeah.
that. You're going to go
Yeah.
big, right?
Yeah. And let me just say back to Bill Blazing. You know, he's a great guy. He's, you know, all of our investors are great people. You know, they're all fun. You know, I tell, you know, my investor relations people, we don't allow any jerks.
Yeah.
You know, only fun people can invest.
That is,
So when we have our parties, it's a great time.
Yeah. Well, treasure hunting is such a wonderful, for us, it's a hobby. For you, it's your living. But for us,
Yeah.
we just enjoy it. It's just fun doing it, get out there and doing something. And yeah,
Oh,
it is my
well,
living. I sell
it's-
metal detectors for a living. And
yeah,
so I tell people I sell fun, but it's just
yeah.
the hobby is just exciting. And you know, because
I know.
you're getting old.
I've been doing it my whole life, and I still, every time I find something, I get goosebumps. You know, it's an incredible thrill when you're the first person to see something that's been buried for 300 or 400 years, or
Yes.
even you know, however long it's been buried. When you find it yourself, that's an incredible thrill.
yeah, I bet. I mean, people don't understand about how thrilling that can be. I mean, when you find like a silver bar, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Kim, we just had a question, and I saw this in the paper. What happened to the guy who stole the gold finger bar? Was that at your
Finally
store?
caught him after about 10 years, and all that was left was a little piece of it about that big. They, you know, well, when they stole it, it was, I think the meltdown value of it was like $125 or something. So
But I thought
they were just cutting it off and selling it,
by piece.
but they finally caught him. The FBI caught him 10 years later.
Now, did he steal that out of your store?
No, the museum.
The museum.
Yeah, he actually, there was two guys, and they went in there and they took a crowbar. We had a case where you reach your hand in and lift the gold bar.
Yeah, and you get the sticker
And
saying I
so,
lifted a bar.
so they took that crowbar and they had one guy watching out on the lookout, and the other guy popped open the case and grabbed the gold bar, and they just walked out. And we got them both on video, you know, but it took them a long time to finally track them down.
Yeah,
But, and the insurance company made us take that exhibit out. But the museum in Sebastian still has a lift a gold bar. You can go there, and they still have that exhibit. You know, because that's our private for profit museum.
Yeah,
So,
that was I did that in Key West in that museum. I thought that was the coolest thing because you got the sticker that said I lifted a gold bar at the Mel Fisher Museum, and I just thought that was the neatest thing. And I saw that on the news.
Yeah, we had to take that out and replace. You know, we got to get new stickers because you can't lift a gold bar anymore.
Yeah, I can't lift a gold bar anymore. Well, I guess you could
unless you go to Sebastian.
Yeah, go to Sebastian.
Go to Mel Fisher Center, you can lift a gold bar.
Yes, go there. So all you guys want to lift a gold bar, go to the Sebastian Center.
Okay, I got a question here. On all the gold bars and the gold jewelry and stuff that you found, Kim, what would be the carat of it? Is it 10, 18, 24, or
most of it's really pure. The chains are mostly between 22 and 23 and a half carats. The gold bars were marked anywhere from like 16 to 23 and 3/4.
Ooh.
But what we found out, my dad had me test them. We found out that there'd be a gold bar that was marked as being like 16 and a half carats. And when we tested it, it was almost pure. We figured out that what they did was they were paying off the assayer to market at a lower carat. So that they would pay taxes on when they really had pure gold.
Yeah.
Just another way of avoiding taxes.
Yeah, cheat the tax man. There's all different ways of doing it, and that's how they
it's been going on for a long time.
They were pretty good at it back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, I've got about all my questions asked
Yeah,
and
I think
answered.
we're just about done for tonight. Kim, I'll get back with you about setting up another time here in another month or so when we don't have the internet dilemmas, hopefully.
Yeah.
And we sure appreciate you coming on. This has been everybody's just been, their hair's been on fire waiting for this show.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I
So
sure
if,
enjoyed it. You guys are great guys, and I enjoyed the questions. And I like this. This is the first time I've ever done this type of thing, where the audience sends in questions.
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
yeah, it's fun, and we enjoy doing it too, especially when we have good guests like yourself and somebody who's known worldwide now, or your family is too, and it's just fun doing it. And thank you for coming on. And you do have to come back, but we're going to come down to Key West and meet you. I want to get a picture and hang it in the shop for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and buy that 8 real with the bezel on it.
And
There you go.
Phil doesn't know it yet, but he's buying me one too.
Call it a Key West dog tag.
That's
Key
right.
West dog
West
tag.
wear these.
He's
That's what it
buying
is.
me and my wife one. He just don't know it yet.
Well, the little
Alrighty,
ones,
folks.
the little coins that the ladies like, the 2 reals,
Uh-huh.
they're a lot more rare, and so
Yeah.
they're more valuable.
I would imagine.
Most of the coins were the 8 reals,
Yeah.
but we did find some 2 reals, and we did find a few 1 reals, only about 1,000 1 reals.
Now, do you have your items online through your store?
Yes, yeah, melfisher.com. You can go shopping online. That's becoming more and more a bigger percentage of our sales is online.
Yeah,
You
because
know?
you don't have to worry about COVID then.
Yeah, well,
And-
yeah, and I think it's just the way of the future. People are doing it online now.
Yeah.
Hey, we just had almost 10 people saying they want you back on the show again. So
All
they
right.
love you, Kim. And so you can order if you want something that's genuine and authentic, they will get a letter of authenticity when they buy from your store too, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, certificate of authenticity.
Yeah, certificate of authenticity. So you don't have to worry, folks, if you buy something from Kim Fisher store, because it's right from the salvage company. So that's
Right
just
from the
awesome.
source.
Right from the source.
Yeah.
It was actually from South America, I guess. And
Yeah, most of the silver came from Potosi in Bolivia.
Bolivia. Okay.
They called it Peru back then, but that one mine has produced more silver than all the other silver mines in the world combined. And
Awesome.
that they were getting tons a year for almost 300 and shipping it back to Spain.
That's awesome.
Well,
Amazing.
I guess
Transfer what?
didn't I, Phil? Got the answer from Jocelyn. She said no to my real that you're supposed to buy me.
I'm so making her buy me one.
I just want to go to Key West.
She just wants to, yeah, she just wanted to go see her grandma's house, and I just want to go get the coin. So I think.
Well, you and I will go
make
get
it
the
down.
coin, and she can go to grandma's.
That's
There
a
you go.
win-win.
It's a win-win. Yes, it is. Well, Kim, thank you for coming on. It's been fun. And thank you to our many members. And thank you to you, Kim, also for making our Facebook and YouTube crash. That was fun because you got so many viewers. That's all awesome. And thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
And thank you, Jocelyn, for helping me. And I guess, Jeff, are we about done?
Yeah, we're just about done. Kim, I just can't thank you enough for coming on. I apologize for the dilemmas with the internet and having to reboot, but we got through it, and all the viewers hung with us. They just had a grand time. I mean, the comments that I'm seeing is just, they're overwhelmed. And they want you back soon. So I'll get back with you on scheduling another show here soon, if you don't mind. And we just want to say thank you. We want you guys to stay safe down there. you know, with this COVID stuff going on, and hopefully one day you'll see Phil and I come bebopping into your shop with Phil's
Right in the
credit
store.
card
Okay, it's been fun. I enjoyed it.
All right.
out.
Good.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Happy
Good night,
hunting.
everybody.
Good night.
Okay,
Happy
have a
hunting,
great
guys.
day.
Today's the day.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that will be the day when Phil buys my coin. That'll be the day.
I'll
Yeah.
say that when I go in there. Today's the day.
Okay.
All right, my
We'll
friend.
see y'all
Thank
later.
you. All right. Bye now,
Good night,
guys.
everybody.
All right,
Bye.
good night.